I will weigh in on the open to country.
Yeah, welcome to country.
So,
Yeah,
welcome to country.
welcome to
Sorry,
your
but
own country, Drewy. Welcome to your own country.
Red hot underdogs rocking the night. Anzac and Drewy bringing the fight. Talk about the game ain't just one side. Whistles blowing, sirens loud wide. Energy pumping, scheming plot. Nothing too small, nothing forgot. Boxing gloves and footy kicks. Sport and
Three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another week of madness. We are the Red Hot Underdogs. I'm Anzac, and with me tonight, the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, never duplicated. Please put your hats on, put your hands together for Drewy.
hey, buddy, how are you? Um, Look, usually I've got some sort of self-deprecating introduction to the Red Hot Underdogs, but this week I'm going to pay homage to the podcast that pays homage to the wonderful, amazing, brilliant, and always remembered, lest we forget, those wonderful soldiers, both men and women who served in the war,
Oh,
those who fell, those who didn't, but those who served the country so that we can enjoy the freedoms we have today because it
yeah,
was Anzac weekend in
yeah,
sport.
yep.
And it's not usually a political show, but I would be doing an immense disservice if I didn't mention it.
Happy Anzac Day. Well, it's a few days ago,
Um,
but Anzac Day
That's
weekend's
true.
gone, and wasn't it a
That's
great weekend? You know?
It was. We're a little bit late on the take. It's Monday night, but
Yeah.
people have certain things and duties that they need to do
Oh,
throughout the course
we
of the
might as well.
week
I
and
just
weekend.
drove back from the Sunshine Coast. Oh, we were just too
Yeah,
tired, you know. Like,
that's true. That's true.
excuse me there. Oh, that's just
Jeez.
thing.
That's
Oh,
a brilliant start.
wait, before we start, just for this thumbnail, can we both look up, okay,
Yes.
and just like laugh?
Okay, this is corny, but
There. Okay.
there
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
That's for the
Yeah.
thumbnail.
That's for the
People
thumbnail.
will have to wait with bated breath later. Actually, they'll see the thumbnail first.
They'll see it before that, but they'll see where.
That's
Let's let's muff dive right into it, Drewy. What do you want to
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
first? What a
Let's
great
cut the
weekend.
bullshit.
Yeah.
What a great weekend. Listen, I'll just quickly run through the scores for everybody first.
Mhm.
So the Broncos put pay to the Dogs' unbeaten run,
Good,
42-18.
good.
Kind of smashed them, but you know what? Still got a lot of hope for the Dogs. It was just
Yep,
a bad night at the office.
yep,
The Roosters 46 annihilated the Dragons
yep,
on the Anzac Day centerpiece game. Once were Warriors again, yet
yep,
again,
yep.
26, defeating the hapless Knights. Lights out for the Knights,
Good.
12.
Yep,
Storm 24 beat the Rabbitohs 16.
yep.
In what is, I should say, one of the most amazing stats in rugby league history, since Melbourne's inception into the rugby league. The Rabbitohs have never beaten Melbourne in Melbourne. That's 27 years worth of losses, and South still have yet to win in Melbourne.
Okay, but that was this weekend Cummings Magic Round. For some reason, I thought last
Yeah.
week. No, of course it wasn't. Yeah, okay. I think because I
So
was
that's,
in Queensland, I kind of thought, oh, yeah,
yeah.
it's Magic Round. My brain's not working. Yeah, okay.
So
Wow. Okay, that's a horrible record.
that is like people have been born, gone to school, been
Yeah,
able to drink, vote, married, had kids, and divorced in that time, and
yeah,
South
yeah,
still have not beaten Melbourne in Melbourne in all that time. I
yeah.
think for the record, they've only had about 6 wins in total, around
Yeah.
about that. Other scores, Cowboys 50, annihilated. The very disappointing Titans 18. Des has
Yeah.
a few problems up there right now.
No.
A return to relief and
Relief.
redemption for the mighty of the
Redemption.
Eagles.
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
26. Beat who would have thought the Wooden Spoon
Well,
Panthers
let's
at the
get
present
desperate.
time.
Wooden spoon contenders.
10,
I mean,
26 to 10.
they're not going to be
Um,
wooden. So I mean, you're coming last, but they're not wooden spoon contenders, right?
no.
That can't happen. That can't happen, right?
And
And you,
it's
look,
true.
we'll
It
go
can't
through the
happen.
scores. That's it, isn't it? Oh, there's one more. One more.
I have two more. I'll quickly get it. The Raiders 40,
Yeah.
Dolphins 28. Dolphins were actually 28 to
Yeah.
10 at half time
What a
and
second
got
half. Yeah.
30 blot in the second half. So Dolphins essentially did what Manly have done plenty of times in the past.
Yeah.
The
They did
wheels
it. Yep.
completely fell off.
They, as we like to call it, they did a Manly.
They shat the bed.
Yeah, the shut.
So, and finally, the Tigers, in an absolute thriller, cliffhanger, have got the eye back. It's not
Yep.
Cry of the Tiger, it's Eye of the
Eye of
Tiger.
the Tiger. Yeah.
Well done. The Tigers 20 beat the Sharks 18 in overtime.
What a cracker of a match as well,
Yeah, absolute.
and in Leichhardt, the place was going nuts, absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Like the best match was the Manly match, but
Mm.
closely followed by the Tigers. That was incredible.
Listen, I'm a real die-hard Manly supporter, as are you, but I have to have some sort of form of neutrality here, and I
Yep.
will definitely say that the Manly game was not better than the Tigers. Tigers Sharks was without a doubt the
Yeah.
match of the round from an
Yeah.
unbiased point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
But I'm not saying I'm not biased. I'm saying Manly beating the Wooden Spooners. We're calling them the Wooden Spoon Panthers. What do you call them?
Crazy,
Bottom,
I know.
bottom, bottom feeders. They're the bottom feeders. They're the bottoms. They just call them the bottoms.
Yeah, myself and the rest of Australia had them in the top two in their predictions this
Yeah,
year. So
yeah,
I'm not a lone soldier there.
yeah,
I think I was either going to talk about the Tigers or the Sharks or Penrith that are coming last would be our first port of call, but we'll stick with the Tigers and Sharks
yeah.
for
Okay.
now.
Yep, yep.
I
Okay.
just think that it was not only was it a really good win, I do like the way the Tigers are traveling,
Yeah,
and they have been the eternal butt of our jokes, and for
yep,
good reason, for
yep,
plenty of seasons.
yep.
But not only green shoots, I think there's a forest emerging there.
Yeah,
I think that they have a very bright future. They've
yep,
got great players that have come to the club now with Luai, Hunt, Bird, Taruva. It's just happy days right now. I know they've had the Galvin situation,
yeah.
which has been difficult, but it was good to see everyone seemed united. And that was the one thing I was looking for on that day, on that game.
So just to reiterate, did I say that right? Reiterate.
Yeah,
Just to
that's the
reiterate,
word.
um, this Galvin guy gets, is a young player for the Tigers, gets offers $6 million for 6 years, and he says no. They
Yeah.
dropped him for one match last game, and they
Yeah.
played him for this game. How do you think he played?
Listen, there's been a lot of tub thumping and hollering in the comment section of certain YouTube videos and comment section whatnot about him and oh the Tigers won because of him and this, that, and the other. What I will say, I think his game was a good, solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
So he had a fantastic game. I'm not going to go out and say he had an absolute masterclass,
yeah,
but they were a better side with him.
yeah,
I'm not willing to sort of go out there with all the trumpets, bells, whistles, and
yeah,
pom-poms like other people. He
yeah,
didn't make the total difference, but
yeah.
he did give a marvelous try assist and he did make the side a better side, and I did give him a good, robust 7 out of 10 for his performance.
Not bad. 7 out of 10 is a good
Yeah.
seven. Should be happy with
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So at the end
Moving
of the
on,
day, they needed him.
And what about your mate that loves the Tigers, Connor?
Connor, yes, good old
Give
Buster,
him a
as we
shout
call
out
him.
because his
Yeah.
election, and I did actually think of him watching it, thought Drew's good mate Connor, who's a huge fan of this show, go the
He
Tigers.
actually is. Oh, Buster Bonanova. Now, let me tell you, after you mentioned that we should give him a shout out
Yeah,
today, he did mention slightly afterwards, he said, don't forget to give the Tigers a good run.
we
Because
did.
he texted me out of the blue, it wasn't prompted. He goes, you've kind of dropped the ball recently, this show,
Yeah,
with not showing episodes on time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that is the sign of a true fan. He's obviously waiting
I've had
for
it.
these two
I get
clueless
it.
knuckleheads to
Where's the
put their
episode?
scon on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, well,
Crazy.
you saw I had my mate Nem, he's like, oh, you're going to talk about, well, do we talk about it now? He asked me if we're going to talk about the open your welcome ceremony. And I sent
Yeah.
you today that there was this article, I'll put it on the screen that said, uh, Aboriginal elder heartbroken that the Melbourne Storm did not have the welcome to country ceremony. And I just read that and I said, what fucking horse shit. Like, this shit has not even been around long. And who the fuck would be fucking heartbroken that you're not, that they don't have someone sitting there and saying, welcome to country? You get it fucking every game. You get it at my 3-year-old's fucking kindergarten. You get it every class. Like, I'm not saying, oh, it's too much. I'm just saying, do we need it before every game, Joey? Oh my God, you're frozen. I,
Don't do this to me.
I thought you were polite. You were like politely just listening in, but you'd froze on this weird kind of face.
Yeah, look, it happens at my end all the time. I get where you're coming from with the welcome to country. I apologize again to all the people. It's always from my end. I've got dodgy internet.
Yeah.
What do? I push a mower for a living. Relax yourself.
Didn't like it, but anyway, so we've talked about that
Yeah,
enough.
so no.
I need
I
it.
will weigh. I will weigh in on the open to country.
Yeah, welcome to country.
So,
Yeah,
welcome to country.
welcome to
Sorry,
your
but
own country, Drewy. Welcome to your own country.
yeah, listen. I will say this because I have got thoughts on it. In my case, it's a bit of relax yourself. I
Yeah.
do acknowledge the sins of the past from Anglo-Saxon people.
Oh, yeah.
I also acknowledge the fact that it's a shameful past. I acknowledge the fact that we should acknowledge them.
Oh,
However,
that's
I
a lot of
will
acknowledgement. Acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge.
I will say this.
Yeah,
I would only like to have it 3 times a year.
yeah,
Round one, round 13, and round 26. There you go. You
yeah,
get 3 rounds a year for welcome to country. For me,
yeah,
there's a time and a place. I
yeah,
don't like sport being politicized to the nth degree. I
yeah.
just want to watch the bloody game.
Yeah, it is
So,
politicized, isn't it? It's bullshit politicized. And like anything, everything
mm,
can be diluted. This is an example of something that could be special, but because it's done so much, it's not special. It's the opposite. People are like, oh God, this crap again, like this is just too much. There you go.
yeah, I just want to say one last thing.
Yeah, say one
Because
last
I
thing.
don't like the politicization of it, I put it like this.
Yeah,
If I'm going to the movies
yeah.
to watch Mission Impossible 8,
Oh, yeah,
I don't want somebody to get up in front of the whole movie theater and go, hello, this is Auntie Pam
yeah,
from the Garigal tribe.
yep.
Welcome to country, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Welcome to Hoyts. Hope you enjoy your
yeah.
movie.
Enjoy your
I
popcorn.
just want to watch the movie. If
Yeah,
she did that, I can guarantee you she would be wearing popcorn, Coca-Cola, and choc tops all over the
yeah,
place.
yeah.
I acknowledge its significance, but please, let's only have it 3 times a
At that
year.
word. Am I allowed to be sick of the word acknowledge? We got to acknowledge,
Yeah.
acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of
That's just to
acknowledging,
justify myself.
you
I'll
know?
get one of my balls out of my handbag
Yeah.
soon, but it is just one of those things.
Okay, moving on can we move on
Yeah.
to a much
I've got welcome to country fatigue. Let's move on.
um let's talk about Manly. Let's talk about Manly. Let's talk about Panthers coming last. I mean, that was the headline, wasn't it? You know, Panthers in last position is as big as Manly beating Panthers. Actually, Panthers being last is probably bigger news than Manly beating Panthers.
Yeah, look, for me, it wouldn't be as such a bigger story if they hadn't have won the last four grand finals in a row
Okay.
and appeared in the last five. So they've been in grand finals for the last half a decade.
Yep.
So to me, what goes up must come down
Sure.
sometime.
Yep. Sure.
And they've
Yeah.
lost a lot of players over the years. And at the end of last year, losing the likes of Taruva and Fisher Harris and Luai, it just doesn't help. And they were three massive outs. I think they're just having problems with their timing and their cohesion in attack. It just isn't gelling like it used to be, which kind of you would assume would happen with such big losses to your side. But I don't think people expected the depth of their decline. That's the big issue.
Yep. Yep. And
Yeah.
so here we go. Both of us said on camera, there's no way that Panthers are not a top four side. They are a top four side. We predicted that. You predicted them seven, but second, but we both said the top four. Then a few weeks ago, you said that they're definitely top eight. They're maybe top four. What do you say now?
Listen, they're not going to make the top four. That's you can put a red
Okay.
line through that.
Oh,
They're
okay.
done there.
Yeah.
For me now, it's just a real race to make the top eight.
Yeah.
They're not going to get any higher than eighth or seventh for mine.
Yeah.
So, and that's if they make it. If I was a betting man, which I'm not always, but sometimes,
Yeah.
I say they're going to miss the top eight this year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I hope they do. Is that okay to say I hope they miss the top eight? Do you want them to
So
be?
do I.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope they go.
And people have got to remember their
Yeah.
run doesn't get any easier. They
Yeah.
got the Broncos coming up in Magic Round, and
Yeah.
they've got the Cowboys after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to mention an Origin period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great news. But look,
I'm not sad.
enough about the bottom dwellers, the butts. Let's
Yeah.
talk about Manly's win. Um, let's go through the tries. Let's go through the game of the week.
Oh, look, 14-0 at half time and 26 to 10 at the end of the game. I
Yeah.
started to get a bit worried because we did surrender 10 early points
Quickly and
quickly.
just at that moment it was hard to watch because
Yeah,
the commentators were all Panthers coming back. The Panthers have got this, the Panthers, and you were just like it was frustrating. And
yeah,
I just could see the Panthers winning and winning by 2 points right at the end. I really could see that. And then that big Olakwatu try where,
yeah,
he jumped up, he somehow grabbed the ball. It was like Aussie rules
yeah,
meets sumo wrestling or something. I don't know. I couldn't believe it. Somehow he got this ball in his hand. And as soon as he had that ball in his hand, you just thought, there is nothing that is going to stop this guy from crossing that
yeah,
line. The whole team could have been there, but the speed he was hitting it in and his
yeah.
200 kilograms, boom, what
No,
a try.
the Great Wall of China isn't going to stop him
Great
from
Wall
that.
of China, the Great Wall of of
Olakau'atu
of
smashed
Penrith Panthers. Yeah,
smashed through the flimsy wall of Penrith.
yeah,
But
and great
yeah,
try. And that last try too was a well executed one too, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah, that was very well executed. That one was one that I'm sure they've run in training many times
yeah,
before.
yeah, yeah,
You know, outside the tries scored, this, that, and the other, the thing I was most impressed with is when it got to 14 to 10, I'm like, here we go again.
yeah.
But to Manly's credit, for once they stayed strong,
Yep.
they stayed in the fight,
Yep.
and they got the
They
chocolates,
got the
which is
they got the job
a
done.
huge relief because that was really boom or bust. We really needed to win that game. So
Yep.
congratulations to Manly.
Congratulations.
At the foot of the mountain,
Yeah,
you got some big problems.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mind you, you can't be too sad. Relax yourself. You've won the last four in a row.
Yeah, good. I'm very happy, but I just feel relieved, you know.
Yeah, me
Magic
too.
round, Manly got a bye, and
Yeah,
a well-deserved bye. Three rounds of losing, which was really
yeah,
hard. We got that win, and now everybody can relax, right?
that is true. They can relax.
We can relax.
And apart from Manly's win, the second one that I was most happy for is the Tigers. I know we mentioned them earlier,
Yep.
but to throw another god-awful cliche into the mix, when the Tigers are going well, rugby league is going well,
God, I've
because we
heard that
haven't.
for about 10 teams. People say that about the Bulldogs and the Panthers. Look,
But this one's deserved because they've been on the bloody bottom of the ladder for 3 years
uh,
straight.
I don't think so. Look, let's talk about the Dogs losing. Were you happy that they lost?
Mixed feelings.
Hmm.
Not, look, neither here nor there about it, to
Yeah,
be honest. I think at some point the bubble was going to burst.
yeah,
They were behind 34-0 at halftime,
yeah.
and they actually won the second half,
Hmm.
18 points to 8. So it was a horrendous first half, but that was more due to the Broncos being so on song and
Yeah,
so ready to turn up because they'd lost their last two and they turned up with everything. And the actual instrumentalist in that, the conductor and the man that played all the instruments and pulled all the strings in that first half was Mr. Adam Reynolds. He
yeah.
was sensational. I don't usually say it, I'm the hardest marker around, but that was a 10 out of 10 first half from Adam Reynolds.
Yeah, okay. All right. And that's it, rugby league.
Yeah, so that was good. The only other thing that I will say on rugby league is that it is looking closer that Perth might have a
Yeah,
side in the form of the Perth Bears or
yeah,
West Coast Bears
yeah.
or Western Bears or whatever the hell you want to call them.
Well, I heard they're not going to call them the Western
2027.
Bears. That's something that won't happen. You
Yeah, so maybe the Perth Bears. We'll see.
Perth
We'll
Bears.
see what happens.
Yeah, but I'm happy with that, you know. Uh,
Yeah, I'm happy with that. And old North Sydney fans can pretend they've got a side again. So
yep,
that's good on them too.
yep.
Sorry for the
And
salty
I was happy
backhander,
with
but as a
Canberra.
Manly man, we never liked North Sydney.
Yeah.
So,
No,
you
I
can
think
put
it's
your
good.
Ferrari badge on your Holden and say you've got a side again.
It's good. I'm really happy that connection is back. I'm really, really
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
me too.
rugby league. But
Me too.
we've got friends like your mate Dan, Dan,
Mm,
and he
yeah.
goes on about the Bears. Oh, the Bears, I don't like the Bears. But is he going to go for the Bears? No.
No, he won't.
Yeah.
He's a staunch person that was particularly affiliated with the North Sydney Bears. But I
Yeah.
will say this, there will be plenty of people who are so starved of going
Yeah.
for a side that
Yeah.
they will come back to the Perth entity.
Really? You reckon there'll
Yeah,
be
I believe so.
you
I
reckon
think, yeah,
there'll be North Sydney Bears fans that will go
yeah.
for the Northern, hang on, the Western Bears. Or
I do. I think it's like being stranded in the desert for 20 days and then there's a cup of piss, like literal urine. You're
the
just going to drink it.
Well,
They've been
it's your life,
thirsting for it.
you can do that.
Yeah, they're like the guy at the disco where everyone else has picked up the hot chicks and
Yeah,
they've been wanting to pick up the hot ones,
yeah,
but they're going to have to go for the one with the wooden eye and two teeth in her mouth. And they're, hey,
yeah.
better than nothing.
Better than
Western
nothing.
Bears,
Yeah,
we're here for you. Sorry,
yeah,
Perth Bears, whatever the hell
yeah,
you're called.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to do on this day or do you want to do tips for next week?
Well, we can go on this day. How much time have we got left, by
Don't
the
know.
way?
I haven't got the 10-minute warning yet. So let's on this day.
Okay, yeah. On this day, in on April 28th, 1967
67.
was,
Mhm.
yeah, 1967 was the day that Muhammad Ali refused to be inducted into the army for
Ah,
Vietnam.
big call, yeah. Big call.
Yeah, big call. Now, he was actually plastered with a 5-year prison sentence to begin with.
Yep.
He actually took that to the High Court, and that was reversed or annulled or cancelled or whatever the hell you want to call it, overturned,
Yep.
probably best word. So he did actually end up with a $10,000 fine, which
Okay.
is peanuts today, but pretty big back then.
Yeah.
And he actually was slapped with a 3-year ban in boxing
Ah,
and lost his heavyweight titles,
because he refused to go.
fight and serve for America in the Vietnam War.
Oh, wow. Interesting, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? If you don't stand up for something, you're never going to stand up for anything. So whether you agree with him or not, he took a stand. So good on
Yeah,
him.
well, he definitely stood for something by
Yeah,
not standing. Yeah, by
absolutely.
sitting down.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
all right. Well, look, any more on this day, or do you want to do the tips?
Yeah, we can do the tips.
Okay, you ready? So next week is Magic Round. They call it
Yes.
Magic Round because it's in Brisbane.
Yeah, I don't think it's so magic. You
What's
just play
magic?
all these games in the same stadium. I don't see the magic, but
There's no magic,
continue.
you know?
No.
So, not to put you on the spot, but
Mm.
what is a better name for a round where they're all played in Brisbane?
Just call it Queensland round or Brisbane round.
Yeah, Brisbane. Well, Brisbane round. You know,
Yeah.
that's it.
So what are our games for Brisbane round, kind
Brisbane
sir?
round. I'm just trying to say it's not magic. That's all I'm trying to say.
No,
I'm
no,
not
it's
saying
not.
I dislike Brisbane or, you know. Anyway, okay. So the first one in not so magic round is the Sharks versus the Eels.
Oh, the Eels look better with Moses in it.
Hmm.
Oh, look, hard one. You know what? I'm going to go the Eels. I think they can turn around their fortunes.
Next
And the
one.
Sharks had a hard game too.
I'm excited about the next one. 8 o'clock on the Friday night. So that's Friday. This is later
Yeah.
on Friday. The Roosters playing the Dolphins that did lose to the Raiders, but I tell you, they've been in form. They've been in
They
form.
have been informed. I'm going to go with the Roosters.
Yeah, they are the little bit favourite, the Roosters,
Yeah,
just, but
yeah,
not much. And I think up there, everybody's going to be going for the Dolphins. You know,
yes.
I should say that too. I just
I think the Roosters will be sort of confident given their annihilation of St. George on the weekend. That extra bit of confidence leading into the Dolphins game.
Well, I just came from a 2 week holiday in Brisbane and
Mm,
Sunshine Coast, and I'll tell you, dolphins, hats,
yeah.
jackets, jerseys, hoodies are everywhere.
Fins everywhere.
There are fins
Yep.
everywhere. And I went to a shop that was selling it was Rebel.
Yeah.
And Rebel was selling, all the merchandise. And I thought, oh, I don't want to get this stuff, I'll go where it's cheaper. So I went to Best and Less and I thought, oh, I'll get some dolphin stuff. There's 10 minutes warning, Drewy.
Oh, beautiful.
10
Yep.
minutes warning. So I went to Best
No.
and Less to get some dolphin stuff, right? I
Yeah.
thought it'd be kind of fun. I do have a
Yeah.
dolphin flag. Not
Yeah.
flag,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
scarf. I've got a dolphin scarf
Gotcha.
because
Gotcha.
Isabella, my 9-year-old daughter, likes
Mm,
dolphins. You know,
yes.
she says Manly's her favorite team. Her second favorite team is Dolphins. I'm happy with that. Anyway,
Gotcha.
without going too much about this story, and then so I'm going there, and I say she can buy anything she wants, and her and a friend buy New South Wales jerseys, state of origin jerseys. Ah,
Good girl. Unlike her father, she
Queen
knows
baby.
where bread is buttered. She knows where her origins are
That
from.
stuff
She's
is
New
everywhere too.
South Welshman going for Queensland like you. Well done, shout out Isabella.
Yeah,
And
yeah. But I've spoke to her about Queensland a lot. I said I go for Queensland because your grandma was from Queensland. We go
yeah,
up there all the time, and boom, she got the blue. And I said to her, I said, "Oh, you don't want to wear that around. Someone will bop you in the nose."
good girl, brave girl.
She wore it around. She didn't care. She enjoyed it.
That's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of that up there in Sunshine Coast, or Queensland, Brisbane. Just
There
a
is.
lot of state of origin, a lot of dolphins, a lot of like. I tell you what a great city. What a great city. Moving on. Okay, let's move on. Bunnies versus Knights on the Saturday.
Oh, look, bunnies, for as bad as sort of ordinary as the Rabbitohs have been recently, I just think the Knights are just god awful right now.
Next
I
one.
don't need much more explanation. It's the Knights. They've been terrible in attack.
This is a good one. Warriors versus Cowboys. I have a feeling that's going to be huge. There's heaps of Kiwis up there, and there's heaps of Cowboys up there.
I like that one. I'm actually going to go the Cowboys in this,
That's a
but with
huge.
zero confidence.
That's
Zero
okay.
confidence.
That's okay. Next one, you're going to like this. Tigers
Yeah.
versus Dragons.
Oh, you know what? I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think the Tigers can go back to back.
And they're favorites as well. They're favorites.
Like they've been the butt of my jokes for years, but I'm starting to get a slight little tingle and a little bit of a hard on for the Tigers
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
Saturday night. They got
without going overboard.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Okay. Next day, the Sunday, which will be a good match.
Mm.
Titans against the Doggies.
I think the doggies will bounce back hard. They'll be
Yeah.
very disappointed at that. The Tigers aren't playing that well. The Bulldogs, up until last week, were playing extremely well.
Yep.
Got the dogs all over that one.
Okay. Next one on the Sunday, the first one on Sunday, Panthers versus Broncos.
Listen, I'm not going to be surprised if the Panthers win. I actually won't because they've got a hell of a lot to play for.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of the exercise, I think conventional wisdom at the moment would probably have the Broncos winning that one.
And I kind of want them
Okay.
to, not that I want Broncos to ever win, ever, but
Mm,
I want Panthers
yeah,
to have a really bad year
yeah,
more
yeah,
than I want Broncos,
yeah.
to
I will say this, like I said, I'm not going to be surprised if the Panthers win. They've
yeah.
got so much to play for, but I'm tipping the Broncos.
Next one. So the field at Suncorp Stadium is just going to be like a mud bath that
Yeah,
you have those mud wrestlings with those
the
girls.
old Quagmire.
Yep,
Yep,
yep, yep.
gotcha.
Storm versus the Raiders.
Oh, I think I think the Storm.
Yeah,
Raiders have been kind of impressive.
yeah,
I think the Storm are the Storm.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
And Mighty Manly go the bye.
Yeah, we got the bite. We get the 2 points. We don't need to
Sorry,
worry this
don't
week.
need to worry.
How good is that?
And
We always
it
make it
happens.
hard for
It happens
ourselves.
at the start, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it happens right at the kickoff of the first match. Boom,
Mm, yeah.
Manly just leapfrog half the teams. We're coming eighth, so
Yes. The
we
only thing I do hope, though, for this magic round is I saw a stat now, sin bins this year,
yeah.
believe it or not, have been up by 140% on previous years
And head
because of
highs,
all,
but
because of all these head hires and
yeah,
concussion protocols. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
just hope that the magic round isn't marred by all of these massive sin
Well,
bins.
it will
Because,
be. It will be.
well, they've actually come out and said that the NRL will try not to enforce as many sin bins during magic round. So they might be a bit more lenient this week. I get that they've got to be careful of concussions and whatnot, but it's
Yeah,
got to a ridiculous point where like somebody's fingernail brushes somebody's beard, and then they're sitting there with Wayne Bennett in the bloody coach's box with
yeah.
a cold. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous.
It is a bit, and you notice now that players, when
Mm.
they get touched, are
Yeah.
actually acting more. Like
Yes, yes.
it
They get
becomes
touched on their shoulder and then they're holding their
yeah,
head.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
soccer. It's
yeah,
turning into soccer. Like it
yeah.
really is, isn't it? Like
Yeah. So
the only way to
the
not turn it into soccer is to not have those game-changing penalties, so many of them.
yeah. So in short, I guess the referees need to be a little bit mindful of heads, shoulders, knees and toes,
Oh yeah, okay.
heads, shoulders, all of those
Yeah. Okay.
protocols. That's what they're going to be mindful of.
I give that about
Less.
a 2 out of 10 funniness, but yeah, it was okay.
That some of them hit, and that was a wow, 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 wow,
Oh,
wow,
that's
wow,
it. Two,
wow.
3 minutes to go, mate. 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was like 1 second. Oh my God. Oh, my eyes
I
up.
know.
Look at my hair. All right, Drewy, we did it. What else are we going to ramble on about for 3 minutes? That's it.
Oh, just the only thing I want to say to make up for that horrendous joke is the only thing that's less magic than Magic Round is that Argyle vest that you've got on. I didn't
Oh,
know that they still had
look at
night golf.
here's a
Oh,
good one, yeah. Oh,
it's different.
you know what?
So,
I've
what's
only
your handicap apart from a bad back and old age?
Not many people wear Argyle vests, and I like wearing them. I got it from Lowe's years and years ago, and there's
Mm.
only one person that I've seen wear this exact Argyle vest, right? And
Yes.
he was probably in his 80s, and he was an old Indian man. And when he was wearing it, I just thought, hey, that's my style. That's my boy. So yeah, I got the same style as an old Indian grandpa.
Yeah, okay. It's different. And not many people know it's an art called an Argyle vest. A lot
Yeah,
of people just say, oh, the vest with diamonds on it.
yeah, yeah.
They actually, funnily enough, look it up on Google.
Just
I
yawning.
know there's a bit of filler information with
Yeah,
about a minute ago. There
yeah,
used to
minute
be an
20
old
second one.
Broncos jersey. Remember that one with the yellow and maroon diamonds?
It had Argyle.
Yes, it was an Argyle jersey.
When?
Look it up. I'm gonna say early to mid 90s,
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
maybe late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There hasn't been many. Well, there's a question for you. Has there ever been a sporting team that's rocked the Argyle?
The Brisbane Broncos did at one stage, and it was a god-awful jersey. It didn't last long, and thankfully it got thrown in the incinerator
We didn't talk anything
very
about other
quickly.
sports, did we? I know it's all over now, but yeah,
No, well, it's a bit of a rugby league week, wasn't it?
yeah,
There wasn't much
yeah,
time for anything else.
yeah. We got some others coming up though. There's a bit of boxing we're going to talk about.
Yeah, July 19, World Heavyweight title between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's one for boxing fans. There you
Guy
go.
off fire is coming up.
Yeah, he's coming up. So
Yeah,
in the last minute, we slipped in another
yeah.
sport.
The boxing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Aussie
true.
rules. We didn't talk
Oh,
about.
actually, we did
Hollywood.
mention boxing on this day.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
Muhammad.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.